hero for you guys at one point. Then that play happened out there in left field. Just how tough is that for him? And just what do you say to a guy like that?
Well, I feel terrible for Jake. I mean, I really do. Look, we made the decision to put him out there just to try to put our best 9 guys on the field and in the lineup at one time, and wanted to give Craddock a break a little bit. He's been struggling a little bit at the plate, and just wanted him to focus on his at bats. So put Sutter in the lineup with the lefty starting today, and left Pat at third, and I feel bad for Jake. Look, we wouldn't have been in the position that we were in, to potentially win the game if it's not for Jake. Jake has just been giving us such good at bats, and I felt super bad for him. So look, I know he feels terrible, and would love for him to make those plays. I know he would too, but we're not in a position to be competitive today offensively if it's not for Jake. So I certainly don't blame him, and because he wasn't the only one. We had a couple plays that we should have made earlier in the game, right there in the first inning. You had a swinging bunt kind of right there in front of the plate. We don't make a play, and had a ground ball to third where we didn't make a play, and that led to a couple runs, and so it wasn't just that. But all in all, offensively we needed to swing the bats, and we certainly did that. We hit the ball really well today. We had some clutch hits, hit the 2 strikes a little bit better, and I thought Brandon kept us in the game. The biggest decision was when do we go to Alex, and tried to keep Brandon in there. He wanted the ball, tried to keep him in there as long as we could, but we ran into some trouble, and and then just at the end of the day, just we needed to be better in the back half of the game on pretty much all sides of the ball. But I thought the guys competed hard today, and we just got to be able to put all 3 of them together at one time.
I know it's the key. I know it's in the moment there with Jake, but did you think on that play where he dove, he was going to make the catch?
I did. I mean, I thought we had a chance to make the play right there, and unfortunately he didn't. And again, I feel terrible for him in that moment.
Your best offensive production in the last 2 weeks have come on Sundays both times. Is there something about the guys playing like they have nothing to lose, and how do you make whatever it is happen on Tuesdays, Fridays?
I think it's really just, look, we pulled the position players together when we got off the bus after yesterday's game and met with them, and just kind of had a conversation about, what I'm seeing and how I'm feeling, and wanted them to give some input as well. And, we came up with a little bit of a different plan for today with the guys, and not necessarily that was all that different than what we were doing in the past, but just trying to create more of a clear identity that we want out of the offense. And I thought the guys did a great job of it today. And we just got to carry it forward. And I got to make sure when it comes to the decisions that we make, as far as on the pitching side of things, on the defensive side of things, and on all of it. I just got to continue to try to make the adjustments as the head coach now, and find ways to put our team in a position to be successful. And certainly hurting for the kids today. And it's been a wild week, but there's been a lot of highlights in there. I mean, we've had some games where we've thrown the ball really well. I'm really glad that we swung the bats well today. Hopefully we can carry some good offensive momentum into next week. And, we're just going to continue to praise the kids for the positive things that they're doing, and just keep working hard to find ways to make us better.
I know 9 runs is too many for you, but on the weekend as a whole, Georgia didn't have a home run today. They had 3 for the weekend. They're averaging 3.5 a game. You got to be, I would think, pretty proud of the
I'm pleased with how we pitched. I really am. I mean, I know things didn't go great for us today. We had some tough luck, again in the back half of the game. Look, Brandon Stone's not going to be dominant every time. He pitches to contact. He gave up some hits. But, heck, Phil Pott threw the ball. I felt like really, really well. Was incredibly competitive in the strike zone. I know, they gave up some hits, but threw the ball really well. So I saw a lot of bright spots on the pitching side. We just got to find a way to help them. It feels like a little bit, we swung the bats well today. We didn't play great defensively. Was, hoping we would have made some of those plays behind them, but we didn't. And, if we can put all 3 of them together, we have a chance to be competitive. So we just got to keep working with the kids and keep finding the right recipes in terms of the 9 guys and the offensive approaches at the plate. But the pitching staff, all in all, I felt like they did a good job all weekend.